Hi, I'm Frank, and thank you to US Classic Muscle Cars channel for allowing the second annual Cars and Cops car show to be a part of their event. The Chicago Police Memorial Foundation benefits from this car show. We honor fallen officers and their families, and catastrophically injured officers and their families, and help to make their days a little bit better. But this car show is about bringing a bunch of people together to enjoy classic cars, and unfortunately the weather isn't as good as it could be, but still here, people are here to show off their cars and support the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, which has given over $9.5 million to families since 2007. So thank you for your support. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please enjoy this next video.
Go ahead.
Hi, we're here with US Classic Muscle Cars, and I'm here with Mike talking about his car. Mike, tell me a little bit about what
this
you
is
got.
a 1930 Model A Ford. They restarted the lettering system after the Model T.
Okay.
So it's an A, but it actually came after the Model T. It's about 40 horsepower.
Wow.
It cruises along at 45 miles an hour quite nicely. It's got a very nice ride. It's actually very smooth. They designed it with brake suspension because the roads back in the 30s weren't as great. So even bumpy roads and everything, it flies right by, and it's a very smooth ride.
So do you drive this around in Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago. We took it down Western Avenue today. It's been up and down Lakeshore Drive before, through the suburbs. Like to take it up to Wisconsin, little country roads, rural roads, even the dirt roads. There's plenty of ground clearance, and it'll go anywhere you want to go. So
That's awesome. Well, how long have you had this car?
I've had it for about 12 years. We've rebuilt the engine since then, rebuilt the clutch, replaced the radiator, and done a few other minor adjustments, but it's a stock color, and everything on the car is stock. We made no improvement, there's no overdrive. It's just 1930.
That's great. And what do you have, any plans to do anything else on it?
Well, like I said, we like to keep it as stock as we can. So just keeping it up and keeping it running is always the hard part. So every winter we kind of lay it up and do any improvements we can.
Great. And what sort of looks do you get when you're driving around Chicago in this baby?
People love it. People will honk at me, and it always catches me off guard, actually, because I'm a little scared. You know, I think I'm doing something wrong, or I'm about to cut somebody off, but they're honking just so they can wave, and it's got the classic awooga horn, so I got to hit awooga to honk right back.
Well, speaking of horns, can we hear the horn?
If I can start it up, and
yeah, that'd
sure.
be great to hear it.
Let me get it going here. That looks great.
That is awesome. Sure. Would you mind if
we can take a look at
yeah,
the engine.
taking a look at the engine too.
So it's actually pretty easy to work on because everything's accessible. It's a very, there's not much going on. There's no fuse box to get in the way. There's no air conditioning to get in the way. It's just pretty standard. The only thing that we've changed over the years is this is an alternator instead of a generator. It just makes the headlights show up a little bit more. It's just a little bit safer.
Yeah, you definitely want people seeing you when you're stopping.
Yeah, that's the only concern with the little tiny tail lights, and we want to be able to see with our headlights too.
Yeah, how many miles?
We have no idea.
No idea.
So obviously we bought it used because we weren't alive in 1930. But that speedometer has rolled over many, many times.
How high does the speedometer go?
It goes up to like 10,000, I think. Like
Nice.
So in the 10,000s.
Well, it sounds like you're getting to drive it a lot. So
yeah, it's
that's
fun.
Awesome.
Even just to the grocery store around town, we drive it everywhere. Even when it's raining or the weather's not the greatest, we take it anywhere. It's not a show car. It's meant to be driven, and it's meant to have fun.
That's what it wants, right? Yeah, can we take a look at the interior while we're at it?
Yeah, sure. So the interior is made out of mohair. It was a fabric popular in the 30s. Roof is, chicken wire because they couldn't bend the metal correctly to make the roof fit. Everything's basic. This looks like wood, but it's just metal. It's just faux wood. Under this carpet here, it's just pieces of wood. That's what actually holds up your floorboards. It's nothing too fancy, and it makes it, easy to get to anything you need to work on.
Can our spokesmodel sit in there?
Sure, have a seat.
Okay, let's try it out. Oh, wow. Oh, this is cool, yeah. I
So
could drive around Chicago in this.
People were much smaller in the 30s, so
Well,
you fit a lot better
feel-
than I do
Yeah,
in here.
it's probably a tight fit for anybody over, 5'2". Beautiful.
That is so cool.
Gorgeous.
But no air conditioning. To get some airflow, you can open up the windshield and it tilts forward. You get a nice breeze while you're driving. I've driven in 100 degrees, through Wisconsin, and it's nice and cool. It's no problem at all once you're moving. If you're sitting there in traffic, it doesn't work so well.
What is this right here?
That's to set how rich you want your fuel mixture.
Okay.
And so just the basic things in here. This is the clutch on the left, the brake. The starter is actually on the floor. It's not the key, so that's what starts it.
Oh.
This is the gas pedal right here. This is just something to rest your foot on. The roads in the 30s were really, really
Can't
poor
even reach
quality that you wouldn't want to be accidentally, as you're going over potholes, hitting the gas, so you can rest your foot on there.
And how many gears do you have here?
A whopping 3 gears.
Nice.
And the weird thing about the shift pattern is up and to the left is actually reverse, not first, which is different than modern cars. So when new people get in here, you have to kind of tell them. So it's reverse, first, second, then third. And there's no overdrive. Some guys put overdrive to go a little faster, but we're trying to keep it stock, and it cruises along at 45 just fine.
Now, can we take this to Mariano's?
Sure.
That's
load
so
up.
cool.
Well, in
Load
the
up the seat.
rumble seat, we can look at the back there too if
Yeah.
you want.
See what we've got back here.
So it looks like only a 2-seater car, but actually it's a 4-seater if you don't mind, riding outside and getting all your sunburn and everything. So this folds open, and we have our raincoats today.
Oh, cool.
But there's plenty of room back here, and there's a surprisingly big amount of leg room in here. I'm 6'2", and I can climb up here and fit just fine. So it's a 4-seater car, and there's actually a luggage rack. So we have a 1930s trunk, and it's an actual trunk that you set on here and you strap down with leather straps, and that's, of course, where the word trunk comes from. It was a literal thing that you put on here. So any long trips, you can fill that up, fill the rumble seat up, and there's plenty of storage. It's a smaller car, but plenty of storage.
So what condition was this car in when you purchased it?
It was in good condition when we bought it. It wasn't a barn find or anything, but it takes a lot of maintenance and upkeep to keep it running. So over the 10 or so years we've had it, we've pulled the engine and rebuilt the engine because it was losing pressure a little bit. Just this winter we pulled the clutch out and replaced the clutch. We had some problems with the pressure plate, but that involves pulling the whole transmission, removing the whole back end. That's one of our winter projects. Worked on the brakes, we've replaced the radiator. Thankfully with the Model A's, they were such a common car back in the day, it'd be like a Ford Explorer today, that there are still parts all over the place. Plenty of guys that still own Model A's, so it's not hard at all to find parts. Just a couple towns over from where I live, there is a Model A supply store that I can drive to and buy the part that day, so I don't even have to buy it online from a
Wow,
specialty
that's
store.
great. Okay, so tell me about the tires here. Are they tubes, no tubes?
These are tubeless tires.
Okay.
So these are the original size of the tires, but it is a tubeless tire.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
Well, thank you so much for watching and joining us and taking in this beautiful car.
Sure. Thank you for looking at my car.